So, Mark Zuckerberg, CEO of Meta, or Facebook, has now come forward to admit that he and his platform bowed to government pressure to moderate or censor users on his platform. So, what? Zuck wants a cookie and a pat on the head now for admitting this years after the damage that he and his ilk, the other social media tech titans, have inflicted on the American people? I don't think so. Now, Zuckerberg revealed this information in a letter addressed to House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan. The letter comes over a year after he submitted thousands of documents to the committee as part of its investigation into content moderation practices on online platforms. Along with the documents, the Meta CEO has said that the company has also provided a dozen employees to be available for transcribed interviews, stressing Meta's cooperation with the investigation. So let's take a look at this letter together and see what precisely good old Zuckbucks has said. He says, Chairman Jordan, I appreciate the committee's interest in content moderation on online platforms. Oh, I'm sure he does. As you are aware, Meta has produced thousands of documents as part of your investigation and made a dozen employees available for transcribed interviews. Further to our cooperation with your investigation, I welcome the opportunity to share what I've taken away from the process. I'll bet. He goes on to write, there's a lot of talk right now around how the US government interacts with companies like Meta, and I want to be clear about our position. Our platforms are for everyone. We're about promoting speech and helping people connect in a safe and secure way. What is this guy talking about? A platform for everyone? Tell that to all the people who have been censored, who have been deplatformed, who have not been allowed to speak. A platform for everyone. Facebook? Not now. Maybe at the beginning, maybe. But now? For everyone? No. Let's go on with his letter. He says, as part of this, we regularly hear from governments around the world and others with various concerns around public discourse and public safety. In 2021, senior officials from the Biden administration, including the White House, repeatedly pressured our team for months to censor certain COVID-19 content, including humor and satire, and expressed a lot of frustration with our teams when we didn't agree. Ultimately, it was our decision whether or not to take down content, and we own our decisions, including COVID-19 related changes we made to our enforcement in the wake of the pressure. Well, good for you, Zuck, for owning it. But you still did it. Anyway, he goes on to write, I believe the government pressure was wrong, and I regret that we were not more outspoken about it. I also think we made some choices that, with the benefit of hindsight and new information, we wouldn't make today. Like I said to our teams at the time, I feel strongly that we should not compromise our content standards due to pressure from any administration in either direction. And we're ready to push back if something like this happens. What a load of crap. Let's just give him the benefit of the doubt and say that he told his team this. Well, he just went and directly contradicted it by saying, well, I feel strongly that we shouldn't compromise our content standards, and then goes on to compromise the content standards. And in fact, the censors were gleeful. I'd argue that the majority of people that worked at Meta, that worked at YouTube, that worked at these other platforms were more than happy to censor people, especially those that weren't politically aligned with them. Don't give me this garbage about, oh, well, this is against our content standards, blah, blah, blah. No, they were happy to do it. Anyway, his letter goes on to write, in a separate situation, the FBI warned us about a potential Russian disinformation operation about the Biden family and Burisma in the lead up to the 2020 election. That fall, when we saw a New York Post story reporting our corruption allegations involving the then Democrat presidential nominee Joe Biden's family, we sent that story to fact checkers for review and temporarily demoted it while waiting for a reply. Get the hell out of here. You guys were more than happy to stop anything that might help Orange Man bad. That's what it really boils down to. Don't give me this crap. Anyway, he goes on to write, it's since been made clear that the reporting was not Russian disinformation, and in retrospect, we shouldn't have demoted the story. No crap, you shouldn't have done that. He writes, we've changed our policies and processes to make sure this doesn't happen again. For instance, we no longer temporarily demote things in the US while waiting for fact checkers. Well, newsflash, Zuck, you shouldn't be demoting anything, ever. Who the hell do you people think you are? Thank you, Big Mommy, Big Daddy Facebook, for saving us from misinformation. Get the hell out of here. Anyway, he goes on to wrap up his letters by saying, apart from content moderation, I want to address the contributions I made during the last presidential cycle to support electoral infrastructure. The idea here was to make sure local election jurisdictions across the country had the resources they needed to help people vote safely during a global pandemic. I made these contributions through the Chan Zuckerberg initiative. They were designed to be nonpartisan, spread across urban, rural, and suburban communities. Still, despite the analysis I've seen showing otherwise, I know that some people believe this work benefited one party over the other. Yeah, because it did. He writes, my goal is to be neutral and not play a role one way or another, or to even appear to be playing a role. So I don't plan on making a similar contribution this cycle. What a load of garbage that was. That whole last paragraph there, just take it, throw it in the wastebasket, and just say, okay, Zuck is spreading some garbage. My friends, there is nothing neutral about Mark Zuckerberg. The man made his choice to not only engage in corporate fascism, but he played a part in spreading evil across the world. And I don't care what his political ideology was, he had to have known what he was doing was wrong. There can be absolutely no excuse for this behavior, nor that of all the other social media and content creator platforms that also engaged in this outrageous behavior. He and his kind have behaved no differently than those who just claimed they were following orders, who committed atrocities in the name of their evil empires of the past. This man, because of him and his platform's actions, helped commit election fraud. They potentially helped people get killed from lying about COVID-19 and so much more. I don't want to hear, and I don't care what excuse he has to offer now, all these years later, and when the tide is turning against him. He participated in evil. He could have said, nope, guys, I'm not doing this. Or he could have gone public like Elon Musk has in the past and said, hey guys, the government is telling me to censor stuff. What do you think about this? But no, the man was more than happy to participate because Orange Man bad. Make no mistake, that is what was behind all of this. Him and his cronies, his flunkies at Facebook were more than happy to do it. He could have done something good and righteous that the world would have remembered him for. Let's look at Elon Musk for a second. This man, who was beloved by the left until he chose up to stand for freedom of speech, to defy the growing evil, to take on and then buy Twitter and open it up to freedom of speech despite the ferocious onslaught against him that even now incessantly moves to destroy him, that is a man to aspire to. If you're talking about doing things for the greater good. Mark Zuckerberg is culpable in helping to shape an authoritarian regime, not just here in the United States, but abroad. The darkness that is growing, that is spreading across Europe and the UK, was helped tremendously by corporations like Meta, Google, TikTok, and so much more. The reason why the freedom in these Western societies is being torn to shreds now is because the government has been able to get the social media platforms on board. They are able to moderate what people say. They are able to lie with impunity. And they are destroying people's lives left and right. And people like Mark Zuckerberg are in part directly responsible for this. Now, the House Judiciary Republicans have hailed this letter as a big win for free speech. They are highlighting Zuckerberg's admissions about government pressure, Facebook censorship actions, and the throttling of the Hunter Biden lap story. But let me stop you there for a second, Republican House Judiciary Committee. There is no win for freedom of speech here. It is still ongoing. Facebook is still censoring the hell out of its users. Just try and post anything COVID-related that goes against whatever government flunkies or WHO spokespersons say about it. You will get censored. You will get deplatformed. There is so much censorship. There is so much crushing of freedom of speech right now. Everywhere. And Facebook hasn't changed their policies. So what? Are we going to just believe that, oh yes, in the future we will be good? To hell with that. These people need to pay a price. You cannot let them get away with this. And until you do, there is no win for free speech. So get to it. Hop to it. You guys are years too late on this. Now, obviously, you can tell that this is a passionate thing for me. This channel used to be a medical-only channel. We didn't do commentary. We didn't do social events. This was strictly medical content. All fact-based, all study-oriented. We were at the forefront of a lot of this censorship. One of the big stories that we broke about, I can't even talk about on this platform because it will get censored, even today. I don't want to hear this, oh, freedom of speech is being saved. No. Social media platforms, content creator platforms, this is the public square. And up until now, we have not recognized this as such. And because of this, the federal government, the DHS, all these a-holes in the intelligence agencies have been able to circumvent our freedom of speech by eliminating people's ability to converse online, which guess what? If they do that to you, they can effectively deperson you. You have no freedom of speech anymore, my friends. I don't care what excuses they throw at you. Something needs to be done about this, and fast, or we will all be paying the price in the future. Naturally, as updates come about with this story, I will be posting about it here. But in the meantime, my friends, that's going to do it for us today. So from the To Be Frank show, I am Adrian. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all in the next video.